Hey there, hope everyone's doing well. My name's Ed and I'm a father to a son with considerable special needs. And after a bit of deliberation, I've decided myself and my wife we're going to start up a YouTube channel really to focus on our learnings from parenting someone with special needs, our kind of challenges and kind of vlog where we're going. So we're going to cover off our journey, share the learnings, and we'll both be involved. So expect my wife, Bex, to pop up from time to time. We're going to cover a few topics as we go through stuff on the channel. So I certainly envisage we'll cover off things such as schooling, financial planning, the health service, so the NHS for those in the UK, relationships. As parents or carers, looking after yourself, and there'll be much more that I'm sure will evolve. I think I'll be upfront in terms, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not legally trained, I'm not a lawyer, so the intention here is really just to give a parent's perspective on things. And I haven't seen, not to say they don't exist and maybe they're lost within the infamous YouTube algorithm, but I haven't seen many similar UK channels focused on this. A few out in the US, but again, not a massive number. So I think regardless of where you are in the world, I hope that this what we cover will help and assist. And equally, there'll be some bits, and we'll call them out that perhaps are a bit more UK focused, particularly around the healthcare. So there'll be some UK specific bits, but I think some of the broader themes one would argue would be applicable to everyone. So a little bit about us. Both myself and my wife, we were born a day apart. Like I say, we're in our 40s. We were relatively young parents when Finn was born. So Finn will be 17 this year. And within a couple of days, or maybe even a day of him being born, we realised that something wasn't right. I think the pregnancy went fine. On reflection, there's some things perhaps through, the technology hadn't evolved that really should have been identified early on. But within a day or so, he developed quite bad jaundice, and a result of that, he went through some scans in the hospital, including a brain scan, and they realised that parts of his brain just hadn't properly developed, like the corpus callosum, which is kind of runs down the centre of the brain, a bit of the bridge between the two main parts of the brain, just hadn't grown during pregnancy. So we didn't know the extent of what that would mean, but clearly, and I think through looking at the doctors, some of the professionals in the eye knew that it was it was going to be challenging, and there certainly were going to be issues. So this will kind of evolve some of the insight as we go through the videos, but it was a good few years. I think about 5 or 6 before Finn could walk. He started to communicate a little before then, probably 3 to 4 through Makaton, so through sign language, and then ultimately moved on to a fairly kind of limited speech. But he can hold a conversation. He can get out and about, but not too far. He does have anything beyond a few steps, then he's more comfortable in his wheelchair, and things like stairs are an issue. He can go slowly get upstairs, but coming downstairs is a bit of a problem. So his diagnosis, it's a bit broad, but is around it's kind of global development delay. But then there's some specific diagnosis linked to the brain abnormalities. He's also got epilepsy, and that was something that we were told, unfortunately, went hand in hand with some of the brain problems, and we were quite fortunate because seizures didn't materialise till he was about 7. We were on holiday, and he literally had a drop seizure, which is kind of in the day walking along, and all of a sudden just fell on the floor. So he was in hospital, and that was really the start. I think following that, we've gone through a series of, without exaggeration, 10 plus different medicines just to try and improve things. And a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, he had a vagus nerve VNS vagus nerve, I think it's like system or whatever, like an implant basically, which I kind of basically would explain as being, pacemakers for the heart, where this is something for the brain, and it kind of counters some of the signals that will then move on to become seizures. So it doesn't always, I say, work. I think it probably would counter the odd seizure, but when seizures do happen through this device, they're a bit less aggressive, and they might be shorter in duration. So it's touch wood, it's doing what we need it to do. So yeah, it's got a few challenges. We know it's been a bit of a journey of exploration, but we know that he won't be independent. He needs needs dressing, he needs feeding, he needs toileting. So yeah, I think we're now of that realization that he's always going to need a level of support. My wife and I both work, full time, so that does involve, a bit of juggling. It's generally not. Please don't treat this like any kind of sob story ever, because I think anyone that's got children will just do whatever they need to for those children. But yeah, we do juggle a few things to keep the household going, to get money in, to keep working, because I think for our sanities, it's quite a good thing to be out and about as well. So we both work full time. Finn's at school. He's got another couple of years there, and that's probably will be another series of a few little episodes where we'll talk about that. But what happens after school is obviously very front of mind for us. But yeah, he been to a couple of special needs school, a primary school. And then in more recent years, he's moved on to like a secondary school, a special needs school, which have been very, very helpful. Touching on some of the the challenges we've had, and it's a bit broad, but the system in the UK for those with special needs, I'm not going to mince my words, is absolutely broken on many levels, and it really needs addressing. There's so much talk, there's so much lobbying, there's senior MPs, even certain leaders of certain parties really pushing for things to get improved, but ultimately they haven't improved as far as I can see. And I think that for us, as Finn moves to adulthood, things are only going to get tougher. Where there is support and focus, as I see it, it's mainly around children with special needs, and it seems to drop a gear, fall away a bit when folk hit adulthood. So it is, arguably it is broken. To cite like a few examples, I mean, the services themselves don't seem to talk to each other. The school's not in sync with, the NHS departments, the healthcare departments, even within the NHS. We do see quite a few different specialists, but we often have to fill in the gaps, chase down, appointments, bring people up to speed, correct people on things which aren't right, haven't been, captured correctly. So, I mean, at the moment, it probably won't be a full list, but Finn's got, a couple of paediatricians, obviously his GP, he's got a physio, he's got an occupational therapist, he's got a social worker, he's got a transition worker, he's got like a spinal specialist, all sorts, and it feels like a full-time job, probably more so for my wife, who's an absolute blooming superstar. She kind of carries a lot of that organisational weight, but just keeping everyone up to date is a challenge. The paperwork, the forms is absolutely horrendous. You're feeling like you have to justify what's going on. It's almost like a business case to get any form of support and to give your, at the moment for us, Finn as a child, that level of visibility that he, clearly deserves. These things aren't of his choosing or making. And to be very clear, we're not, we don't go looking for, pushing for financial support. When I talk about support, it's mainly, healthcare, welfare, things that he should be entitled to give him a better quality of life. So this isn't, it's not a monetary thing. But I know for those who do need the, financial support, like I say, we're fortunate in that we both work, we've both got, careers, my wife and I. So we do okay, but for those who do need the financial support, as I understand it, it's not great. I mean, the carers allowance is pathetic. It's minimal. I think it's an insult to people who haven't, like I say, chosen this path, and they're simply trying to help someone. I think that's just a disgrace. And I think for parents as well, I know for parents that there isn't much support on how to deal with things. We were really young parents when Finn was born. We didn't have anyone to talk to that was, you know, lots of friends, family, but no one going through a similar thing. So we have to fight the system ourselves. Like I say, not a sob story, because, you know, anyone I think in our shoes would do exactly the same. But, you know, looking back, you know, our mental health and how, say, you know, immature in a certain way, just inexperienced around some of this stuff. So, you know, our mental health certainly suffered. We lost a lot of friends. We've become a bit secluded at times, and that's another thing. It's quite, you know, we feel bad, you know, getting, you know, asking people to look after Finn just because of some of the complexities, particularly of the epilepsy, and then things like that. So you kind of you get a bit, I'd say territorial, but a bit secluded. So yeah, definitely more could be done in terms of support for parents. And I think our current thing at the moment, that transition to adulthood, you know, our main worry is around what happens after school. You know, where will Finn go? Can we both continue to work, juggle these arrangements? How can we make sure that Finn's still happy? How can we give him, you know, those life skills, expand on his life skills, either, you know, ourselves or through other people? And we've got your legal challenges, you know, data regulations. When he hits 18, you know, we need to go to the courts in order to get applications in so that we can have continued, it's called deputyship, but basically the right to make decisions on his behalf, because obviously he can't make decisions on his behalf, which costs money. So that's like a process in itself. So again, we'll cover those bits off in the channel. So hopefully they'll be of relevance to people. So very quickly to close, you know, we've come a long way. We're going to share our learnings. Equally, there's a lot of short-term, mid-term things we need to sort and go through, and we'll cover those off through these videos. I'd absolutely love, I'll speak on behalf of my wife as well, we'd love to hear people's views. So yeah, please do, you know, subscribe, you know, comment, but I think most importantly, if you get a chance to share this video with someone else who might be going through similar stuff, a similar journey or challenge, that would be awesome. We'll leave it there. We'll be back very soon. All the best. Cheers.